Ryan?
Hey, good evening or good afternoon or good night, wherever you guys are.
Welcome.
Welcome. We're all here. We got Megan, one of our traders, and of course Artie.
Hello.
Welcome, Megan. Finally. We wanted to do this like 3 weeks ago, and then excuses after excuses. I think you wanted to ditch Brian.
I think that you left me to go to South America.
Yeah, I just got back from Argentina. You know, Andrew called me and he's like, "Oh, listen, I really need you. We're gonna work. It's gonna be a work trip." I said, "Sure." So I got the tickets, and I'm like, "What about return?" He's like, "Don't get it yet, but we'll come back in 4 days." I end up being there for like 10 days, Andrew style. But I'm so glad to be back. Welcome. We're really excited to have you. I know you
Thank
just
you.
moved. How's the move going?
It's stressful, but it's good. Just moved into my new house, and I'm in the middle of building a pool and tearing out floors and redoing the kitchen, and it's a lot of stuff. I'll be very happy when it's done, and I could be in the pool just hanging out and floating around with a cocktail in my hand.
And your trading station, of course, set up by the pool.
Exactly. I need to create a waterproof trading station so I can just float around on a floaty and trade from the pool.
Living the dream.
It's right.
That's awesome. Is that a Peloton in the background? I'm saying. Are you a Peloton?
It's actually a Soul Cycle. I could have told you a long time ago that Peloton stock was going down because I bought a Soul Cycle.
There you go. That was your sign. That was a telling. Well, Megan, of course, welcome to the show. We're so
Thanks for
glad
having me,
to
you guys.
finally have you. When we were offline before we started, I told Megan, let's break Thor's view. I think Thor was on and he had like we have
Yes.
4,000 views. So let's aim for that. Exactly. Megan, do
I
you
love
want to
it.
kind of take it
Goals.
away
I like this.
for people who don't know you, because you just joined our BBT as a kind of a not a member, but kind of part of our
moderator.
community, a moderator. Yeah. So do you want to kind of, for people who don't know you, I'm pretty sure 99% of our audience knows you, but a little spiel, your background, things like that.
Yeah, of course. So my background, actually, I have been a chef for many years. So I come from the culinary world. When the pandemic hit, I was just looking for something new to do. I had traded a little bit in the past, but never had time to do it full time because being a chef is wild. Sometimes you work like 36 hours in a row. But so I got really into trading, and eventually I shut down my kitchen and just went into it full time. So I've been full time trading for a little over, I guess about 2 years now would be full time. And then I've done some part time trading before that. But yeah, I love it, and it's definitely less back breaking than being in a kitchen all the time. But definitely mindset wise has been a journey for me, because when you work in a kitchen, you have like a bull in a china shop sort of mentality where you just go trying to get things done. And the market doesn't reward that kind of behavior. The market rewards patience. And so I've had to definitely alter my mindset a bit being a trader, but I really enjoy it. And I'm so happy that I joined BBT back when the pandemic hit and have had this whole family to be a part of and grow with you guys. And it's great to be part of the moderator team now, and be able to share recaps and talk through my trades and hopefully help other people grow as traders as well.
Yeah, I think you pointed out something that's really interesting, that so many people come from different backgrounds. We have people in our community that are retired, and we have people that are engineers, cooks like yourself, or chefs, and it just shows you that you can make a transition with the right support and the right education. You can actually transition to a trading career if you want to make it that, or you can just continue to do whatever you do, like I did for many years. I just continued to work at a full-time job as business development engineer and trade in the morning, because being on the West Coast, it allowed me to do that with the time. So. But it shows you that you can transition into other things if you really want to put the time and the effort in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one of my life's motto is anything can be learned. I really truly believe that. And if you want to really learn something, the tools are out there for you to learn. All that knowledge is out there. We're so lucky that we live in an era where there's YouTube and people can teach you things on YouTube. Like, I can't imagine, Ryan, when you lived back in the dinosaur ages, how you had to like go to like the library and like learn something at the library. Like that must have just taken forever.
Yeah.
What are you implying? Brian's not that old. What are you talking dinosaur age here? Nah, the library.
You had to walk to the cave next door and like find the scribbles on the rock.
ABCD pattern in the cave, like found it. What's kind of, Megan, kind of staying on this topic, what has been the hardest thing for you to adjust in the trading world? Because everybody is different. But what's kind of been the easiest thing that really clicked right away for you, and what has been the hardest?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think that the hardest thing for me has honestly been adjusting to a desk job because I'm such an active person, and I've found that definitely in the beginning of trading that would come out in my trades. Like I would get bored really easily and just want to take trades that, you know, weren't my setup or shouldn't be in anyways. So learning to channel that active part of my, you know, my brain and my body, like you see the bike behind me, like I get on it in the morning before I'm at the desk so I can hopefully get out some of that energy. And I think that was probably the hardest part for me. I think the easiest part was probably, you know, it's weird to say this, but like actually learning about the tape and the L2. And I know that like some people struggle with that. And I don't know, like there's just like a numbers thing that happens in my brain. And that was like one of the things that like I first, grew to understand, and not like right away in my trading career, but when things started clicking, like that was one of the first things that clicked for me, and I was able to start seeing charts a lot differently. So I would say that that's probably the easiest thing that I came across. And then, you know, finding my strategy. I think that like, you know, there's so many people out there that say that, you know, the get rich quick overnight thing, and it's so it can really get people trapped into a place in trading where they can get you know, feel defeated if it's not happening right away. And you know, for me, it took over a year. It took over a year and a half. I mean, honestly, like consistently profitable probably didn't start for me until like 8 months ago, maybe 6 months ago. And now it's like every day, it's pretty much a good day. You know, I still have my bad days, of course, but it took a long time to find like that one thing that like clicked for me and that like was my strategy. So for anybody that's watching this, like just be patient, put in the time, you know, keep digging, keep trying new things, use the simulator to your advantage because it's there for a reason, and just, you know, take advantage of that and be patient. That's the number one thing for sure. Be patient.
I think you know, one of the things that I think I know that people appreciate in the room is your approach. And we all have different approaches to, you know, to trading. We all have our own trade books, and we have our own styles. You know, some people don't like to trade the open. Myself and Andrew, we tend more oriented to trade the open. But what we like about, I've always appreciated about your style, and you know, I always learn from other people, and I love the way you bring up these charts and you show the little boxes, the rectangles with ranges where stocks have traded, and you're able to pick out those ranges. You know, I can really appreciate how you've sort of just, I guess other people do that, but you know, you figured that out, and that's, you know, that's your go-to strategy, and it works.
Yeah.
It's obviously working for you. It's great, and this is
Thank you.
again a great part of being in this community because so many people have different strategies, and you can learn from other people.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that like trading is something that you can either make really complicated or really easy. And I think a lot of the times, you know, the first path that we take is actually to make it more complicated than it needs to be. And I think for me, as soon as I started trading like these like rectangles that you're talking about, it's like my eyes can see them and like it makes so much sense, and it's just so simple. I'm not looking for like this and where the wicks are and like what's happening. I'm looking for just a box. Like that's just like it simplifies it, and then I can focus more of my decision making capabilities on other parts of indicators and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, they say if you can't explain your edge simply, you don't have an edge.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you really hit it on a chord, because like some people like to make it really complicated. Like you can really make it complicated, but you got to keep it simple. And what's working is working, right? Like,
Yeah.
why did it?
Yeah. Keep it simple, stupid.
Exactly. The KISS. Exactly. Like that
Yeah.
video.
Yeah, that super easy.
Yeah, like 2 years ago, TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah. Who would have thought that we'll have Brian reviewing TikTok on our first episode? And
Why am I making this so complicated? It's fine
here we
it's
are.
here.
Exactly. Episode 15. Yeah, that's awesome. In terms of your trading style, Megan, I'll ask you this last question and then we'll move into market because a lot of stuff happened in the market too. But who do you kind of gravitate toward? Because like I know some people like to trade more like Jared or Thor or Andrew or Brian. Who was kind of the person that you're like, oh, I kind of want to see what that person is, or you kind of created your own path?
I think it's a mix of a couple things. I definitely think Thor played a big part in my journey, as far as reading tape and L2. I watched a lot of different traders YouTube videos on tape and L2, but he was the first one who like mentioned it enough to where it was finally programmed in my brain where I was like, this is something I need to pay attention to and I need to learn. And I think that, the more he talked about it being like sheet music and learning to read sheet music, I was just like, okay, I've been basically an artist in the culinary world. Then let's bring out that side of my brain, the artistic side, and let's try to like, find the art in the tape and the L2. And so I definitely say Thor had a lot to do with that. And then the other part, I definitely think I carved my own path a little bit after that because there's really no one else in our moderator community that really trades these sort of ranges. I guess, you could say Jared trades the ranges a bit. He's always kind of mentioning them. But yeah, I'd say it's probably a mix of those things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, congrats. Yeah, you're killing
Thanks.
it. People love your new segments,
Thanks, man.
ads. What is it? 7:30 our time. I don't know what Eastern time. 10:30. Yeah, the feedback has been
Yep.
really positive, and we have a huge like female traders that yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The happy hour, the Zoom calls, your Slack channel. It's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
actually it's a happy 3 hour because we go in for an hour and we end up being there for like 3 hours just like drinking and talking and hanging out.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, we did get quite a number of female traders that started to come in and say they just didn't feel welcome in other rooms, and that's why they came to our room, and they felt way more accepted and welcomed. So this is definitely not a boys' club, and we really encourage the diversity of people that we get in the room as long as everybody's respectful. It's everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's great.
Who? Bearable traders.
Yeah, to the women.
Exactly, to the women. It was Women's International Day as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. So let's kind of switch to market. What a crazy, another crazy week.
Wow.
Just gonna go to our trading terminal. Brian, what do you think? You're the expert, the prophet of profit.
It's like it's kind of funny, you think everything's going up and you think, what could possibly, knock this market off its, off its kilter. And I found 9 times out of 10, you can speculate, till the cows come home, and you can never really know what's going to happen. And who would have thought this, that this would have happened, this invasion? But it, became pretty clear as we were watching the Olympics that, that Putin was going to, invade, which was, it's been tragic. And and who knows how it's going to end. This guy is just, I don't think he's going to be deterred by anything. So
No good news is coming. VIX is still above 30. I mean, the only sector slightly green is energy for the week, 2%. And then, of course, the defensive held up nicer, but still finished in red. And then discretionary, technology, these are getting hammered. Qs is now year to date down 20%. So this is kind of a brutal environment. It's a bear market. Kind of a first for myself. It's a first real bear market I'm trading. So it's been really interesting. Adjusting.
We have there's so many people out there. So so many younger people that had not seen a bear market. A lot of people were jumping in when things were great after the beginning of the pandemic and everything was going up. And it's easy to make money in a market that's going up. It's much harder to make money in a market that's going down. So managing your positions is important.
Yeah.
Changing your trading style, managing your risk is really critical right now. So, but you can do it. I mean, it's you can still make money in this market. It's just you have to change your strategy and your approach.
Yeah, Megan, before I kind of ask your opinion, I just remembered something, and I want to say in the last video someone commented that, hey, there is a war going on, and you guys didn't mention. I think that comes with saying that of course our thoughts and prayers are with people impacted by the war. If we didn't mention it in the last video, I apologize. It was a miss on my end, but I kind of thought that it's kind of self-explanatory. Of course, it comes without saying that, this is a no-win situation for anybody, right? Like people are impacted. It's been terrible.
I mean, it's just horrible seeing all these people that we go home and get into our warm beds every night, and you've got people that are had a home and now they don't. They're sleeping on a floor in a subway station or a train. It's just unbelievable. So, and it's all because of pretty much one person. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. Megan, what are your thoughts about the market? What's happening this week?
Yeah, I mean, we're always talking about in the chat, it being risk on versus risk off, and there's been a lot of risk off situations lately. But yeah, I think, a lot of people are a little bit weary of trading. I think you can tell kind of in the market right now, the way that it's moving, that, it's definitely not like it was. Even, on some of the down days, it just doesn't feel the same that it did. So I think that, people protecting their capital and, maybe trading smaller than they normally do is the right move right now, while the market kind of adjusts to this new scenario and what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I feel bad for, like traders like similar to John. His strategy is break up high today. We're not seeing a lot of high today to break.
This is what I'm talking about. You got to change your approach because, we're so used to pullbacks being bought. Now you have to almost flip your thinking and say, okay, pops are going to get sold, right? People are really fast to pull the trigger and take profits, and I've noticed that, when you do get into a bear market, that it's just, you don't expect a huge follow through when you get a nice breakout. Quite often you get a breakout and then a complete rejection. So yeah, you definitely have to readjust your thinking about how markets are going to behave.
Yeah. I think it was 2 weeks ago we had a really strong Friday, and then some people in the chat were like, "Oh, bear market is over." I'm like, it's not over until we break the trend.
It's a trap. It's a trap.
We're still in a downtrend. So until we break it.
Yeah, and that goes to another thing that we mentioned in the room is that some of these huge rallies that some of the biggest rallies you can get are in the middle of a bear market. You'll get people thinking it's the bottom, starting to buy, and then you get a lot of people that are short covering, and you just get a rip your face off rally in the middle of a bear trend. So, and that's what happened on Friday, and we were warning people in the room that this was not sustainable, probably. So, and as it turned out, it wasn't. So.
It wasn't. Yeah. So, anything to add, Megan?
Well, I was just gonna say that, like, I think one of the things to look out for, I'm always mentioning the higher time frame charts, but Going back to that is there's a lot of higher time frame levels that we really need to reclaim, and we need to reclaim them strongly. So I think that, going forward, keeping an eye on that is really important right now. You can tell right now where the market's sitting that it's just kind of bouncing around those areas and it hasn't made up its mind. So on days where we get pretty big sell-offs or pretty good bounces, we're still stuck in that area. So I think finding those higher time frame levels and making sure that the market reclaims those first before we can say that this is a bull market again is key here.
Yeah, no, well said. Exactly.
Yep.
That's why you got to be part of the community to hear these insights.
Yep.
Live and direct.
Yeah, come over.
Exactly. So that was kind of this week. Of course, we had lots of earnings and Docu got slaughtered. Going into next week is a big week because we got the Fed's meeting, I think, next week for the rates. Looking at the forward market, I think 25 basis point is pretty much guaranteed. Is it enough to control 8% inflation? Is it enough to cause a market sell-off? Is it enough to make the market rally? Brian, what do you think?
No, well, I think first off, I think the expectation is a quarter point. So if they don't, I think anything other than that will cause some heartburn in the market. Yeah, everybody is expecting a 0.25%, so it's going to be kind of a non-event. If they say 0, then everyone's going to read into it and think, the Fed obviously sees something that's worse than it is. And so they're not raising rates, and the markets are going to sell off. And if they go half point, the markets are going to react negatively as well. I think the problem for the Fed is a lot of the inflation that we're seeing is not economy wage-driven inflation. It's other factors. It's supply chain. It's lack of supply now that Russia's been cut off, and they're a big supplier of agricultural commodities, metals, that kind of stuff. So we're getting prices spiking on that. We're not getting prices spiking because somebody just settled an agreement and they got 10% on their contract. So it's a challenging time for the Fed for sure. How do you control something that you really have no control over?
Yeah. In macroeconomics, we say there's two types of inflation. There's a cost push inflation, and then there's a demand pull inflation. Right. And Fed doesn't really have a great toolbox for cost push inflation like this, right? You just got to be patient. Supply chain figure itself out. The market really, it's crazy. I don't know, Megan. What do you think?
I'm very interested to see what happens this week with them, and it's just with all of the sanctions and the oil and everything that's happened this past week with Russia. I think that it'll just be really interesting. I have no forward. I can't see into the future, so I'm just waiting for that number to come out just to see how the market reacts to it.
Good answer. You can't be a good politician if you can't see in the future then.
That's okay. I don't want to be a politician.
All right. Okay. But great answer.
But one of the things that happens is, with prices rising so much, people naturally start to cut back on their spending, right? There is still a lot of money sloshing around out there. The U.S. consumer still does seem to be strong, but everybody, even in our chat room, everybody's complaining about seeing $4 and $5 a gallon gas at the pump, and you can't help but think that there's going to be some demand destruction just from all these price increases, and so that could possibly that could do some work for the Fed as well.
Probably.
But then that'll mean a bit of a slowing economy. So, but maybe the economy can slow a little bit, and we can tolerate that. So that'll be something that'll be interesting to watch as we go forward here. But it's going to take it's going to play out over the year.
Janet Yellen said soft landing. She said no recession this year. She said she believes that the Fed will do so good that we'll get into soft landing and no recession. So let's see.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, hopefully she's right. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see exactly how much worse can it get from the gas prices and everything. I kind of want to switch over to kind of the Twitter and the news. We know Elon sent a bunch of Starlink stuff. Satellite to kind of provide internet for Ukraine, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. He used it, I think, a little. I don't know how much of it. I mean, of course, the help was really sincere, but he kind of used it as kind of a pro-Tesla move as well. In Twitter, he was saying, "Oh, like we got fast to speed the adoption to EV, but right now we need to speed up the oil production. I don't know. What do you think of
He
it,
just
Brian?
likes to be in the spotlight, obviously, there's no question.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, yeah, and I know Megan had that same thought. So, you know, I mean, it's just Elon being Elon, right? I mean, you think of all these guys, you know, they got a lot of money and they like to be in the spotlight. Bezos with his,
Yeah,
you know.
billions is not enough. They want more.
Yeah.
They
And
want
it's,
more.
Yeah.
and it's the attention too. It's, you know, the money and they want attention.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. It's, yeah,
I mean, on like the good side of it, at least some of the attention that's happening right now on him is, you know, actually doing the Starlink in Ukraine. I think that was a little knight in shining armor sort of situation. You know, of course, anyone who owns a business is gonna market all of their products around something like that. So, you know, at least there's a little bit of a golden gem in it in some way.
And I think didn't he also say he was gonna pay all the Tesla employees
3 months, the Ukrainian employees, if they want to go back and fight.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Conscription, 3 months. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's got lots of money, and he's stepping up to the plate. So that's, you know, no matter what you think his motive is, it's still there is you know, like Megan says, there's definitely a good element to it for sure.
We used to, just a little sub story, Megan, I think you'll find it interesting. At my previous job, we used to use satellite image and cell phone to kind of track a bunch of stuff, right? Because we were a long-only fund. One of the things we looked at, Brian, was the cell phone usage in Tesla factories. How many people are working?
Okay.
And the trend was identical on a Monday or a Sunday. Like he would have people working 7 days a week.
okay.
So, I mean, these
Wow.
3 months, it all sounds cool and nice, but I'm a skeptical. I mean, I know Elon is, and I swear I don't want to mention him every week. He's just always in the news. Yeah,
Well, he's doing a good job of marketing himself then if he gets brought up every day.
exactly. Yeah. On the other side of the spectrum is Bill Ackman. I don't know if you guys seen his tweets, but he's really pushing for a war. He's like, NATO needs to get involved. He's basically the other side of the spectrum of Elon. He's like, I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, his portfolio is down 12%. I mean, just because you want to save your portfolio, do you really want to start another war? I don't get this man. He is.
Yeah, I don't know what his motive would be. I mean, you can make an argument for both. You know, they you know, if you look back in history, I mean, they kind of let Hitler get away with things, and then by the time he sort of overrun a few countries, it was kind of too late to stop him. So you could make that argument. On the other hand, you know, I know there's a lot of reluctance, NATO countries not wanting to get involved because, you know, you're sending troops there, and then there's bodies coming back there as well. So it's a tough. You know, I wouldn't want to be a politician right now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a really tough situation, and I know they're trying to manage it the best they can. But we just try to hope that there is some end to this.
Yeah, hopefully, of course. Yeah, again,
Yeah.
going back to the same thing. It's people are being impacted. Real people, real hardworking individuals are being impacted, and it's definitely not.
Yeah, who had a normal life like a month ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's terrible. That's pretty much it for me in terms of market, everything that happened. Of course, it was great having you, Megan. Anything you want to kind of last points you want to talk about? People will see this tomorrow.
I think we covered it all, and you know, I'm just happy to be here, and I really appreciate you guys having me on today, and you know, having me as part of the team. I'm really enjoying being a part of BBT.
So Megan, what's the SPY up next week or down?
I don't know. I don't have my charts up. I can't see my levels.
Are they down?
What it closed at? Do we know what it closed at?
Yeah, I think we've had 5 down weeks in a row now.
Yeah.
So
You know, I did see some bigger orders on the L2 the other day as it was falling down in like the 417, 419 area. So it's definitely struggling to hold these levels up here and get back into the top side of the range. So it could be down. I don't know, but you know, I'm not a fortune teller, so I don't know.
You haven't got Peter's
Magic
magic
8 ball.
8-ball?
Magic 8 ball? No, but I do have Jared sending me trophies every time I get a level right, so that is motivating for me.
How many
So,
you got now?
You know,
How many you got so far?
no, just one, but you know,
do you
I'm
have it
building my
around?
desk to be bigger just in case.
Do you have it around? Can you show the audience the trophy?
Or is it a virtual trophy?
No, it's a real
No,
trophy.
I don't have it.
He really.
No, it's a
sent
real
it.
trophy. I know. I don't have it in here. I just moved into my house, so I have so many of my boxes in the garage, unfortunately.
Ah, that's a bummer. Yeah.
Well, from my perspective, I mean, for next week, I think it's really, as Megan said, it's going to be very hard to predict what happens, because we're in an environment now where there's so much stuff that is news driven. So something dramatic could change, in a heartbeat. And we saw what happened when the markets turned around at one point, when it looked like there might be some resolution, and then it fell again. So again, just hyper focused on news until something changes.
Yeah.
But right now we're
Yeah.
very, very, very sort of pins and needles right now. So we'll see what happens next week.
Be patient. Be patient and just let the charts tell you. The market will tell you what it wants to do. Don't anticipate it. That's the worst thing.
Yeah. Don't try to pick a bottom. You
Yeah.
might be catching it.
Yeah.
Falling knife.
Yeah, because if you try to pick a bottom, you'll have to pick the next bottom sometimes, and then sometimes the next bottom.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. We know someone who's in this situation. This. All right.
Okay.
Brian, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us this weekend, and appreciate your like, subscribe. You can do that for us. We'd appreciate it. And yeah.
Exactly. Megan, thank you so much. It was awesome having you.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to do this more. We're thinking about making it twice a week. So we're going to have more moderators coming on, more members coming on. So it'll be awesome. It'll be a lot of fun. But thanks for coming, and thanks for making it work.
Great.
Awesome.
Have a good weekend,
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a
Cheers.
good weekend.
Bye.